I have to say, people tell me, fusion. Why, you're doing fusion, you are like the godfather of fusion. I feel like that I'm a lab rat or something. What we do is we interact, we converse as musicians. Fusion started 1,000 years ago. Did you know that? You didn't know that? Okay, I'll tell you. At the time of first invasions of the Islamic emperors, India was a land of Dhrupad Dhamar, one of the greatest form of music that ever is in India or anywhere else in the world. Dhrupad Dhamar, shlokas were being sung, Sanskrit was being honored. Bengali language has Sanskrit in it. I mean, Sanskrit was being honored. Dhrupad Dhamar was the language of the time, of music at that time. Then came the Muslim emperors, and they brought with them Sufis, who were very liberal-minded Muslims. They were not closed, they were not fanaticals. They believed in the oneness or the universality of humanity, that we are all one, that we have different names. Example, musicians are Sufis. Ustad Bade Ghulam Ali Khan Sahab sang once Hari Om Tat Sat, a bhajan, and it became very popular at that time. So there was somebody who was interviewing him on the radio and said, Khan Sahab, you sang Hari Om Tat Sat, it became very popular, but you are a Muslim. How do you explain singing Hari Om? And he very simply said, Beta, ye to Khuda ka naam hai. It's a very important statement. He said it's the name of God. It's the name of Allah. Somebody is saying Hari, I understand that. So I will sing it with the same feeling that I would if I sang Allah. Because that's what I'm doing. I'm singing the name of God. So that is Sufism. That is an important thing to remember, and that's what we were. We are all Sufis. The universality was what was in. So the Sufis came, and they were totally taken by this form of classical music, Dhrupad Dhamar. They thought it was amazing, something fabulous, that these Tero Suvarna Kare, I mean, this is a line of a Dhrupad. They're talking about God. Jamuna ke tir, tum rahat ho. I mean, we're talking about Lord Krishna. So it's Dhrupad. And the Maestro sang Dhrupad, singing praises of Almighty, of the Spirit. The Sufis related to that. And they took their form of doing the same thing, which was in those days called Kaul Kalbana. In this part of the world, it was Dhrupad, Prabandh Gaiki, Haveli Sangeet. In the Islamic world, it was Kaul and Kalbana, which is now popularly known as Qawwali. Kaul and Kalbana. So the Sufis like Amir Khusro took those two forms and found a way to be able to integrate them, mix them, make them work together. And there emerged a new style eventually, 100 years down the road, from that mix called Khayal. We know what Khayal is, right? Khayal is the premier in North Indian classical music form now. It is a secular form. It arrived from those two elements coming together, right? So that's where the fusion began, way back when, if you want to call it fusion. I just call it a natural process of integration that takes place. We are sitting here, we are Indians, where we are speaking English. That's fusion. But we don't call it fusion. But we'll call it in music. If a South Indian mirdangam player plays with a North Indian sitar player, that's fusion. Why? It's a natural process. I am really not the godfather of fusion. Ravi Shankar ji started this long time ago. Before even him, Bollywood did this. Film industry in Bengal did it. They were using Western instruments and creating music for Indian films. That happened in the 30s and the 40s and the 50s and the 60s and so on. So the fusion was already, or whatever this was, taking place. It trained people like me to be able to go out in the world and work with musicians who are non-Indian musicians with the familiarity that was needed to be able to interact with them. And that came from working with Indian films. I played in Indian films. So, I started with a khanjiri player, tambourine. Then I went to bongos. Then I came to congos, finally graduating to playing tabla. That was the elite place in the rhythm section. Once you got to sit on the table with the tabla, you've arrived. You got 124 rupees for your day of work in those days. But it was amazing, and I tell you, it taught me how to interact with musicians from all over the world, because there in the front sat the strings, violin, violas, cellos, bass, everything. Over here was the horn section. Over here was bansuri, santoor, sitar, sarangi, dilruba, tar shenai, whatever, over here on this side. Facing them were 4 tables: tabla, dholak, naal, khanjri wala, whatnot, and everything, and all over on this side. So all 4. Each had 1 mic. And all those mics were going to 1 plug on the board. And there was a small little booth like this in which the singer would stand and sing. And we'd all had to play together. If one of us made a mistake, we had to stop and start all over again. And it was a process which was very hard to do, but that's where you learn. So that's where I learned to be able to interact with a saxophone player or a trumpet player or a cello player or a piano player or whatnot and everything. And so they say that I've made this happen, but not me. I learned under the guidance of Madan Mohan, Naushad Saab, Shankar Jaikishan, later on Lakshmi Pyare, R.D. Burman, S.D. Burman and whatnot. So, yeah.
Rhythm is a universal thing, it's a universal way of thinking, way of living.
This is for first time mridangam without mridangam tabla and gadam. This is.
Hey, Viku.
Viku, Vinayakara, Zakir Hussain.
Yanna Guru Tanne. I just love this man.
New group.
Is it the best?
Best.
Yes.
Best of the world.
Best drummer in the world.
No.
You have one of the best drummers in the world. You've got to have one of the best groups around, right, Viku?
Yeah.
Viku, see, me and Viku have another kind of a problem, which is I speak Hindi, which is North India, and he speaks Tamil, which is South Indian language, and we don't know a word of each other's language. So it turns out that we have to speak English.
That's strange.
Yeah.
You live in America, both of you. Right?
Right. We even share an apartment together.
Yes.
When I first met him, I was wondering what would happen, whether he would look at me and say, you know, he's a young boy, I don't know if I should play with him or not, anything like that, you know, but it
That's what
wasn't.
people say, isn't it?
No, I was wondering he might say that, you know, but it wasn't like that, because I met him the first time, and the first day, and we played, and it was like been playing all the time, you know.
I arrived on the train in Madras.
Yeah.
And I said...
You arrived so late, no?
Yeah, 9 o'clock at
No,
night. I didn't even know I was
international.
coming, right? So the first thing I said was, we need a South Indian drummer, you know.
South Indian drummer.
Yeah.
That was Viku, huh?
Yeah, no, but I didn't know Viku then.
That night we
So,
were talking to
yeah,
very
we
late,
talked
about 4 or 5 o'clock.
Right in the morning.
Yeah.
We were talking. So 7:30 the next morning, you know, I'm rudely awakened. No, I was ready. And he came with his father and his brother and his uncle
please,
and his
please
cousin.
Come. We would like to be there.
Some people.
And he came, right? Right.
And,
please come, please come.
And he brought his gatam, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember that day. And he brought his gatam, and so we just put out the Shruti box, you know, the drum, and ta-ding, ta-ding, ta-ding. Yeah, fantastic. And because he played so beautifully. He plays so beautifully. So I asked him, I said, you want to go to America? Join this group? Yeah, I want to go.
What's the gatta made out of, anyway?
This made
You know,
is mud and clay.
Yeah, but there's some metals.
Seven metals.
Seven metals. Oh my God, Ashtudat. They call it Ashtudat. Same way as my bass drum. is
Yeah.
made. You know,
The-
bass drum.
bass, yeah.
It's also 7 metals.
Huh?
Ah.
So because the 7 metal, the shine is coming. Because
The shine
it's egg,
and it rings
egg,
to you,
yeah,
right?
7 metals and egg also is mixing.
Egg.
This special.
But I thought you were a vegetarian,
Yeah,
Riku.
so every time I am vegetarian, my instrument is non-vegetarian. I'm touching is non-vegetarian.
It's got egg in it. I see the yellow yolk here.
Egg, yellow egg.
Egg yolk.
But it's secret powder, that's pot maker only is know that made that.
6 years ago, when I got invited to dinner by Ali Akbar Khan Sahab, who is one of the greatest musicians alive today, one of the greatest artists. And and I arrived there with a guitar, and Zakir arrived with his tabla, and I looked at his tabla, you know, and he looked at my guitar, and so we just played. And immediately, just fantastic.
When I play my music, I am the worshipper of Ganesha, the Lord of Rhythm, and I identify with him, and I identify with the rhythms I play, I identify with my instrument, as it is, and I know that I'm somebody when I'm playing music, I know I'm somebody important to myself, I'm important to other people, I'm a way of expressing what people feel, what I feel.
It is the Shakti.
It's the Shakti, it's the power, it's the creative energy which is within you and which is out in there, and you just generate it through you out back to the people, and then they generate it back to you.
And Zakir, you're the son of Al-Arakan.
Who? talk with me as me, not as son of... I mean, that's the problem, the problem is he's such a great musician, right? And he's my father and he's my teacher. He used to come from his performance at night, 2 in the morning or something, wake me up, and I'd sit there giving him a massage while he would talk to me about the music, and the tradition and all that. And he would sing syllables, rhythmic syllables for me. Just basically sort of divide the idea up for a on-the-spot composition. We have a long composition, we break it up into parts, 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5, 6 parts, and then we divide it both of us play each part, and so one would start it and play the first, I'll play second, third, fourth, and then I'd play one, he'll play second, third, fourth, switch it around, then we can play.
What is behind rhythm? What is behind it?
Your soul.
Comes and sits in front of you and is waiting for you. They're waiting for you to love them in a way.
Yeah.
They want something from you, but what they do is they give you a screen. They give you space. I mean, not outer space, but they give you consciousness space in which you can penetrate. And you can play with them. While playing, the barrier, or let's say the so-called barrier between where you live, which is invisible, and where you operate, which is visible, disappears. What is left is only consciousness. Music plays me, ideally. This is the ideal situation, which is what surrender is to me, is when everything that I am, and everything that I have is taken by music, or taken by beauty, which is truth and reality to me. It's taken and used. Everything that I feel, I give it to it. I give it to that moves me.
Thank you.